Hmm. Oh, I guess I didn't have to get the Okay. Well, we are live. And so welcome to another broadcast. And I have someone who suffered with terrible hip pain just right as we were going live. I just got this testimonial, so I want to share this with you guys. Let me share my screen with you and move things a little over so I can share with you. This is for those of you who know. For those of you who are inquiring about the patches, I have this group on here, which I can show you right here. It's called the Stem Cell Activation Patch Info and Support Group. We'll put the link in the description below. So if you want to inquire about when the next Zoom is, you want a one-on-one, ask questions, whatever information you need, or if you're just ready to get started, just come to that group and we'll get you connected. We always get back to the person who referred you to this video. But this group is for those people who are already on the patches. I have two groups. I have a bigger group that's got 9,300 people and then a smaller, more intimate group. So we both give hands-on personalized service in these particular groups. And so Tasha, she's one of our practitioners up in Northern California in El Dorado Hills. She just gave right now this amazing testimonial. And it says here, amazing testimonial from one of her clients. She says, to my surprise, the X39 LifeWave patch has done more for me than I expected. I started the patch to see if it would help me with my hip pain that I have suffered with 5 years. I've suffered with for 5 years. I noticed a reduction in pain in the first day. And now 2 months later, the pain is completely, I'm sorry. She says, and now 2 months later, the pain is almost completely gone. I want to make sure I read it verbatim. But not only that, I have a scar on my neck from spine surgery 6 years ago. And after 5 weeks with the patch, I noticed it filling in with new tissue like it's healing from the inside out. Same thing happened to me, actually. Also, I realized that my hair stopped falling out. I had that experience too. And then my husband noticed my hands weren't shaking anymore. And then she says here, I have dystonia and my hand would shake terribly if I had to use 2 hands to steady a cup. Now I can actually hold it with 1 hand. I can't thank Tasha enough, that's Tasha Cardis, for introducing me to these LifeWave patches. And it has made a huge difference in my life, and I plan to try some of the other patches. And LifeWave has to offer. Okay, fantastic. So I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, another life saved, another person who has relief from pain. And I'm going to have to see if I can ask Tasha and her person to come on and to share, with us on this video, on this broadcast about their experiences. I love the power of the written word because that you have kind of a time, date, and stamp. I love video because then you have both and you're hearing it and you're seeing it. So you're using 2 of the senses, which automatically engages the 3rd sense of feeling, the kinesthetic feeling and the goosebumps that oftentimes we get, or the welling of joy and emotion and excitement from seeing and hearing the results of others. Because I don't know about you, but for me, when I see something or hear something like that, I'm like, if that's possible for them, maybe it's possible for me.
Exactly.
And so I know you have said that, Carol, so many times, and it's true. And so it makes it very exciting. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Very exciting.
Yeah. So with that being said, there is another testimonial that I wanted to share with you guys. And so we'll get to that one. We'll go back to that group because I had posted this earlier. That's Dr. James Canelo. Let's see if it'll let me do a search while I'm on Zoom, because sometimes it doesn't. Oh, Zoom is working. Yay! Celebration. Okay. So this is the testimonial of Al. Al worked in the military for 42 years, Navy, later in the Army. And so here we go. This is his testimonial.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us today, Al. I wanted to share in the midst of this week of Thanksgiving, we have so many things to be grateful for. And yet in this midst, there are people that are coming down with all different types of flus. We have the big C. I'm not talking about cancer, but you know, there's COVID, there's influenza, there's rhinovirus, the adenovirus. There's like 2,000 different variations of flus and so forth. And so we keep on seeing different people that have these type of circumstances. And in August, when you and I were getting some medical certifications and getting some integrative hypnotherapy classes that are medically related, you texted me on Thursday. It was August 3rd when you texted me saying that basically, do you have any magic potions or elixirs to boost the immune system? I'm down and out, didn't go to class today, sore throat, head pressure, chills, thanks. And then I asked you, what's your room number? You share with our listeners, with our viewers, because there are people right now that are going through this. I just saw a friend of mine, her daughter, I just found out 10 days she's been in the hospital with infections, with high fevers and asthmatic attacks. And I'm going, oh my gosh, we need to patch your daughter. So share with me what was going on and what happened.
Well, I started feeling pretty bad. I was had a little pressure in my head, sinus pressure, and coughing, and then I started getting chills, and I was just feeling just crappy. And so, you know, as we were in class, I decided I'm not going to go to class anymore until I feel better, because I didn't know what it was. So then I, just started thinking about what I can do, and I didn't have any OTC stuff. So I said, well, maybe Lillian has something. So that's when I texted you, and then you came up and you did the sway test.
Polarity test.
Check my polarity test. Yeah.
We did the test. We reset it.
Yeah, reset it, and so it was good. You reset it, and then gave me the patches, and I just kind of laid down after I got the patches, and I was kind of drifting in and out, and then I just started feeling better. It was really bizarre. It was pretty cool. I started feeling better.
Yeah, so it was very interesting because I'll never forget, I was in my room. It was after 10 o'clock at night. And, you know, most of us, we text each other by phone, we call, usually text first, then we call, video chat. And so all of a sudden my hotel room rings and I look at the clock, it's 10:18. I pick up the phone, I'm like, oh, who is it, right? And then you're like, you're not going to believe this. What? And he's like, I feel fine. All my symptoms are gone. I go, what? I questioned you.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're like, yeah, I feel fine. I go, my headache is gone, my chills are gone, my fever is gone, I feel fine. So then I looked at the clock again, it was 10:18. I'm like, no way. I go, so then I questioned you again. I'm like, so did you drink another bottle? Remember, I go, did you drink another bottle of water? And did you start at 8 o'clock? Because I didn't know if you started it as soon as I left, even though, because we tested your body and your body said to start at 8, right?
Yes.
So I'm like, so did you drink another bottle of water? Because I had given you 2 when I first arrived. And then did you start at 8? You're like, yeah, at 8 o'clock, I drank a bottle of water and I applied the patches right at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, holy cow, that's only 2 hours and 18 minutes. You're like, I know. He goes, and I feel great. This stuff is pretty badass.
Yeah. Yeah, I was quite impressed. I was definitely impressed.
I was shocked. I was even questioning you because I was like, how could that be that fast? I thought 24 hours.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I drank that one bottle and I was feeling better. And then, like I said, I was like in and out. And then after I drank the second bottle, I, like kind of in and out. And then when I woke up, a couple of, whatever. I think I probably finished the second bottle around 9-ish or something. And because I don't really drink that much water, but it was good to drink all that water. And then I felt great. It was pretty cool.
That is amazing. So this is not meant to be this long expose. This is meant for you, the person who's watching this, whether you're watching this live or whether you're going to see this as a replay, either on my YouTube channel or on Facebook or Instagram or however. Maybe one of your friends is going to send you this, whether you're in the hospital or whether you're at home, whether you're out vacationing. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to totally ruin my Thanksgiving celebration, my Thursday, my Friday, it doesn't have to. That's why we're doing this now. And just know that, you know, we make no medical claims. We don't cure, we don't heal, we don't treat or diagnose. But make no mistakes, these stem cell activation patches that are a FDA compliant class 1 medical device that was originally created for the Black Ops Navy SEAL. The Department of Defense actually hired David Schmidt to create these for that reason, which is why the military, and Al, you just retired from the military. You were actually in the Navy. You were actually in those submarines. Those were the guys, the Black Ops Navy SEALs that actually wore these originally 22 years ago. So, and then you just retired after 42 years of service. You know, you've got a mate who she verified that TRICARE for the military will actually cover this, which is actually very exciting. So, all right. So for people who want to watch the whole thing, you can go to my YouTube channel and you can watch the balance of the 2.5 minutes that are left. But at least you hear that it is possible that if you're under the weather, if there's something that doesn't feel right in your body, whatever, whether you get a test that shows that you're positive for the big COVID or whatever other, you know, maybe you don't have a test, but you've got those symptoms. Well, guess what? You know, just the X39, the mother cell activation patch will boost your glutathione levels by 30%. That was enough to boost. I mean, I'd put more than one patch on Al, but it was enough to boost his immune system in just 2 hours and 18 minutes to the point where you heard him, all of his symptoms, all of them were gone. Now, he's the only person that I have patched to date, and we're in 2025 now, that has had that fast of results. But if it's possible for one, it's possible for more. It's like the 4-minute mile. The first time we had the first human, I'll never forget where I remember reading, and this was before I was even born, but I remember scientists used to say only, you know, men could, you know, run a 6-minute mile, that it was not humanly possible for a woman to run a 5-minute or a 4-minute mile because of the structure of our hips. And they had all their reasoning. And then the first man who ran the 4-minute mile, which had never been done before, then in that following 12 months, there were hundreds, not just one or two, there were hundreds of men and women who ran the 4-minute mile. Go figure. So in my experience, 24 hours to get relief from whatever it is that's head congestion, stuffy nose, sore throat, chest congestion, body aches, chills, fever, all that stuff. To have that today and then to wake up the next morning without it, that's pretty phenomenal. Because most people will struggle with that for at least a week, 7 days, 10 days, and then it'll get better. You know, a lot of people get leveled for 2-3 weeks with something like that. So to be able to, within a 24 hours or less period, resolve, dissolve, regenerate whatever generated, and purge out whatever's not serving you within 24 hours, I will use Al's words, that's pretty badass. Oh, that's one of his characteristics. He talks about not too many things are badass, but he's like, these badges are badass. And I would have to agree with him. They are pretty badass. If anyone is offended by that language, too bad, so sad, doesn't matter. This is for those of you who this resonates with. There's over probably 500 hours now of YouTube content that's posted every single minute. 400 to 500 hours worth. So you have a choice. You don't have to watch this if you don't like it. If you don't like it, you don't like the way I look, you don't think my hair is perfect, because my hair sure as heck is not perfect today. Didn't curl it that much. There's all sorts of things that are wrong that you'll find here. You probably don't like the fact that my Christmas tree, some of you love it, some of you hate it. For those of you who hate it, just X out. Don't worry about it. Doesn't matter, right? Carol and I, we're like, we're so over it. We really don't care. We just care about those of you that this resonates with you. Those of you who want to acknowledge, who've been asking, you've been seeking, guess what? Today you are finding, right, Carol? And so that's what
Absolutely. Yeah, we're finding.
We're so excited. Go ahead, tell them some of your experiences, Carol.
Well, when I first got on the patches, I had atrial fibrillation, and within 10 minutes that went away. And I don't have to have a defibrillator installed. That's off the charts. And I had shingles in my eye, in the eye itself, and I had put patches up here where the neuropathy is, and that helps that a great deal. So everything, my back, and I put patches here and there, and I have had great success, as have my friends that I got started on it. They've all had great success. And it makes sense because when you're working with the stem cells, I understand about stem cells and how they fold up. So I've known that for years. So with these little devices, these tiny little things, if they'll wake them up, I'm all for it because I'm 85 and I'm ready to rock and roll. So
boy, and heaven knows, for those of you who are subscribers or who frequent, hey, if you frequent the channel and you've watched at least 2 videos, please subscribe, because that helps us create more content where we can give it to you for free as opposed to for fee, right? But heaven knows, Carol has rock and rolled in a way that also I'll never forget. She started August. She ordered her patches, her and her sister, because she found us on YouTube. On Tuesday, the 3rd, by the 8th, they had their patches in hand, both her and Annie, and they both started that Tuesday, the 8th. And that same day, you heard her AFib, her heart fluttering, her high blood pressure. In less than 15 minutes, it went away and it's never come back again.
that's right.
Where you were actually able to avert and avoid having surgery that was already scheduled for November of that year, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, fast forward to February of that year, and we're on a Zoom like this. And Carol, I knew something was up because she looked like she had a little mouse. You know how like a cat will have a mouse in their mouth and they're hiding that they've got a mouse in their mouth, and she kind of looked like something was going up, and she looked a little mischievous. And she's like, guess what I did yesterday? I had no idea. So she tells me, I went motorbiking yesterday. I was like, motorbiking? You rode a motorcycle? And she's like, yep. And I said, I knew she was very active, and she snow skied, and her boys and her husband, super active, always very athletic their entire lives. So I'm like, well, maybe this woman has ridden motorcycles her entire life until a few years ago. So I said, did you used to ride motorcycles before? And she's like, nope.
Nope.
So I was like, how did that come about? And then why did you tell them how that came about? Because I think that was, I knew, when you said that, I almost went, I nearly fell out of my chair. I'm like, you're 80 plus. You
Yeah.
got 60 or 70 plus.
Well, I've always been active, but I had never ridden a motorcycle, and this is a pit bike. And so a friend had one he was working on in my shop here and was testing it around periodically. And I kept watching that. And I said, I gotta see what I can do with that. And finally, one day I said, I want to ride that. So he showed me what to do. I got on it and I just rode it around as if I'd been doing it forever. And
is that not incredible?
Yeah. And that's the thing that I have learned over all these years, is to not give up, keep moving and learning and doing something that continues to wake you up or whatever it needs to do. So the patches are fantastic because I put them here and I put them there and I put them here and there, and they work. They work.
Oh, yeah. And I'll have to find a video, but I remember in the first few months of you being on the patches, because you had a serious issue going on with
Yeah.
your heart. Shingles, make no mistakes, that's a very serious, especially when it attacks the eye. People aren't aware you can lose your eyesight from
Yeah.
shingles attacking your eyes. So I always tell people, if you have any shingle, any of the nerves around the eye, whether or not, because some people have horrific pain, and then some people, even though they'll have a big boil like open on their forehead, I'm like, how are you not screaming your head off? How are you not like weeping in tears? It's like, it looks awful, but it doesn't hurt. Like, how can it not hurt? Everybody's threshold of pain, everybody's wired differently. But make no mistakes, if you have shingles around the eye, you can, just like you can lose your hearing if it's around your ears. So it is something that is very serious and it needs to be dealt with immediately. You need to go, as soon as possible, as soon as, if you're not sure, you're like, you have this weird, bizarre looking pimple anywhere around the eye or around your ears, and it's a little painful or sensitive to the touch or just kind of weird looking, go get it checked out, because you don't know and you don't want to. Luckily with the patches, there's a pretty good probability that we can reverse that. Without the patches,
No.
you will have lost your hearing, you will have lost your eyesight. And Carol will attest, her sister, Annie Reeves, got her eyesight back. We have Jeffrey Chu, one of another one of your friends, who is a retired nurse. He lost his eyesight because of his detached retina. And he doesn't have 20/40 vision like your sister does, but he did get he's no longer completely blind from that eye, and the retina did reattach. But what I did want to bring up was that a few months after you were on the patches, you had also been dealing with some sort of like skin cancer on it was kind of like actually on your, I want to say maybe it was on your right cheek or it was your right nose,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I remember you said you were going to go to the dermatologist and they were going to deal with it and so forth. And of course, you were patching. And so I want to say that I saw you on a Thursday. And then, of course, on Friday, you had some of the bandages, on your face. And then on Monday, it's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. On the fifth day, you were back on the Zoom, no bandages.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
already healed over.
Yeah.
I was like,
Healed right away.
that normally would take several months.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, wow, you can barely even tell you even had anything. And so I'm going to have to pull up that video because we didn't talk about it that much. I just made a brief comment on it, but that actually is a very big deal as well.
It was a big deal. And with my heart, I had diagnosed with congestive heart failure. And I've never had anything like that in my entire life. And it was called a broken heart because when my husband of 58 years passed away,
a shock.
It was a shock to the body. And the doctor knew that. So I went to a cardiologist, which I'd never done before. And he still, to this day, he identifies that I'm wearing these patches. So, and he has them in my records and stuff. So I keep nudging him. I said, well, why don't you get started? But I leave him alone.
Yeah. So this is really fantastic. So my friends and gems, we're here at the bottom of the hour. It's 2:34 p.m. If you or someone if you think you can offer relief, and I understand you don't know all the details to this, you know what? The honest truth is that only the inventor probably knows the entire scope of everything that's possible. And even then, our bodies are infinite. Our original master smart cells are what build us from conception. Once your mother's ovum and your father's sperm unite, you have complete information. So it can repair, restore. It could you can have genetic expressions that turned on in your lifetime and caused you grief. They can be turned back off. Or if they were on and they were turned off, they can be turned back on again, restored to your original setting so that you get relief from whatever pain, whatever aches, whatever dysregulation, anything that's causing a burden or a compromise in you. It can reverse that, but you have to activate 33%, whether you're a 5-year-old or whether you're 101+-year-old. I have somebody who's going to be turning 102 and I have one in August and one in September turning 102. So my youngest, actually the youngest person we have on the patches is a 2-month-old baby
Oh, fabulous.
who got relief from acid reflux, who's finally able to relax into sleep as soon as they patched the little guy. So
Wow.
yeah, it makes a big difference. So, okay, my friends and gems, I could keep on talking about testimonial after testimonial after testimonial, but I'll let you guys go. You can peruse the channel, and Carol and I are both going to say ciao for now, my
Ciao
friends.
for now. See you tonight.
Bye-bye. See you
Bye-bye.
at 7 p.m. Join us again
Absolutely. You
for
bet.
our info Q&A.